that's the thing. You can get that. You can get that because data stick that you input in a circuit assembler is supposed to have a rocket schematic tier 2 on its own. It's a scanned version of the schematic. It's to duplicate those, right? So it's not just any stick, right? I remember that you specifically need to scan that schematic to kind of multiply that. So we cannot legitimately get a NASA workbench schematic in here. So this is a sort of like also like a dungeon key prerequisite. You get that by building a rocket. Because I really want to build in a personal dimension. Because what? I plan on relying on solar panels for at least some part of my run. And while half of your day is night, you don't get much out of it. So I plan on always having a daylight first. Second of all, since I will be also advancing through bees at some point, certain bees require nighttime, and having a PDIM portal thingy allows you to switch off and on the day-night cycles at your command, and with this will allow me for easier day-night cycle manipulation, which will make me breed bees faster. The only question is, will my run be legitimate if I actually pull that through? I need to consult some people that actually did that. F? What is F? You meant something by F, or you just mistyped? What is F? I need to know. What if that F solves everything for me? Or is that the press F to pay respects kind of thing? Like you can get personal dimensions, so press F to pay respects, right? Since I'll be rotten in this overworld void dimension forever that has day-night cycles dialed in, so that I can change that whenever I want. Oh boy, I'm so used to personal dimension. It's like a new home for me. I feel it calling to me as well. If I don't get that, I will probably just, you know, I don't even know what my energy options are if I don't go solar, because this is my last run. I went there. I went to full solar. I went full solar, and what are the options? I know that people rely on benzene and then nitrobenzene after that, but I've heard you need to get like some kind of enchanted fuel or something, magic fuel, to boost your production of benzene or something. And I believe that that is a very lengthy chain of machines that require energy on its own. And I don't like the system of looping, where in order for your production of energy to work, you need to use the energy that you produce to you know, to route it back into the rear of the system. I like the energy that, like these dudes, you know, the solar boilers. You just set them up, and they always give you the same amount of energy. Well, even if they are scaled up, it's still always working. Or the solar panel that I still don't know whether I need to clean or not. Always gives 1 volt. Always. So by just crafting 32 of those and placing them on I don't even know, wires, I guess, I will get a stable 1 amp of LV without ever having to worry about whether I have enough in my tanks, whether, I don't know, something happened to one of my storages and something get clogged up or something, and you don't get the next craft of batch of fuel and things just back up and void and everything. You don't need to worry about that when you go solars. You always know the expectations that your energy grid is kind of like capable of. You never go like, okay, I'm gonna build 5 EBFs because I support those. No, you can't. You will never do that. Same thing with this energy production like benzene, but here you have to route back some energy that you've made in order for these little refining machines to work. That boggles me. Like, my whole point of playing this game was to research ways of not giving a crap about something while it works on the background, you know? And some of those chains of chemical reactions and everything that you need to build to produce energy are just something I am not ready for, even in my second run. So that's why I'm thinking about a personal dimension, because it only makes sense while you always have like 100% uptime for your solar panels. You can even exclude rain in that dimension. You just type in no rain and that's it. You can make it a flat world. I'll probably just make it a void world, and I'll just build the platforms myself like I did here. Like, just have like 8 or 9 stacks of some, you know, the same kind of material, same kind of block, and just build out with it using a magic wand. So I won't have more than I need. Flat world would be a stupid idea because the speedrunners made a flat world, but I don't know whether their thickness of their layer was like 3 to 4 blocks before bedrock, as flat worlds are. What if they made like 17 blocks height or something that allowed them to run, because you would need to run laser transformers underneath your base, preferably, right? Because I believe that's what you do, Pico, if you already in UV. Have you already started lasers? No? Because those things are like 3x3 on their own, and sometimes you have to place them even lower than your usual wiring goes. And then, I don't know, I guess you need space for that. That's why I use void world instead of a flat world. It's just like, in the flat world you'll have to place that on top of machines, and your machines are different height. Like, it's just not feasible, you know. Hard. Yeah, no patches today, but at least I was able to enlarge my production of wood. So now I have my coke oven working full time, 9 to 5 job. Let's see. Yeah, no downtime. And this is not yet filled up, but it should be. Aluminum is here. Keep getting that. I suppose I need to store that somewhere. I don't know where to store that. Put it in here. Also, rainbow cactus that I have everywhere. Should probably go to one of these places, and well, I probably should be wrapping up for the day, because it's kind of late where I am. Oh my god, no, I will need to download this thing into like a video format, then put it back onto YouTube. Well, that's another hurdle, and probably a PC working overnight as well. Oh, now it has 7 logs, which means that it starts to slowly stack up in here, which is cool. Oh, there's a downtime. Oh, this was just passing through. It wasn't backed up. Maybe I'll need a bigger field. RE, what does that mean? Rest in peace? No, that's RAP. You're back. Yeah. I remember I asked you a question, but I forgot what question I asked. Something about... I forgot. I need to backtrack a few seconds in my Twitch. because I can actually see what was before. Yeah, Pico, the question was about you whether you reached laser transforming, transmitting, transporting of energy, which is in UV tab as far as I remember. Have you reached that yet? Have you tried it? Did you like it or not? Yeah, or am I mistaken? Is it even ZPM maybe? Yeah, ZPM now. It's in ZPM. This is where it starts, and then you're gonna continue that later on. Because I think it's a cool implementation, but I thought at first I thought that okay, lasers like, and I built the two transformers, and I kind of pointed them at each other as the tooltip said, the quest, and I was like sitting here with like kind of that kind of emotion, like where's the energy? Why isn't it like transporting itself? Because I did point them at each other, but little did I know that it actually needed the freaking cables to transport that, and I just then said to myself like, if you're implementing a new way of transporting energy, like let's say from wires to a laser, it's supposed to be wireless, no? Like laser thing? Yeah. So it's like you would build two boxes. Just, I agree. I totally agree. Yeah. I totally agree that lasers should not, curve or whatever, even though now you can with mirrors. But at the time, I thought that you don't need cables for lasers at all. I would just think that you would need to point two machines at each other, and there would just be a beam of energy kind of like flowing into that direction. Let it even be not visible, like implied that there's a beam of energy. But little did I know that this beam of energy actually needed a case, which was the, what do you call those things? Laser cables or laser vacuum pipe, right? Or no? Laser tunneling device. So you would need a tunnel for a laser. And then it kind of made sense to me that, yeah, if you don't restrict laser to one direction and one space within it, within what it kind of like moves, it's gonna get dissipated into, like a cone or something. And target hatches and source hatches, yes, they have to somehow match the amperage. Pico, I don't know about you, but I remember times when there used to be. Oh, actually, I'm going to talk about this a lot. There used to be a time where you would have, these target hatches and source hatches. They have like different amperages, like starting from 256, if I remember correctly, and ranging up to 1,000,000 if you look at the later tiers, right? Back in the day, which was about, I guess, a year ago maybe, or maybe like 7 months ago, you would have you would have like for example, a ZPM laser source and target hatches, and they ranged from 256 amps to a whole range of 4 or even 60 million amps. Can you imagine that? And that actually existed. So every tier of a pair of laser and target hatch source, laser source and target hatches, every pair of that would have all amperages available. So without ever worrying about getting the new materials, the new components for the higher tier laser and target hatches and source hatches, you would actually only needed the greater amount of already available components to transmit bigger, higher, like, volume of energy, what I'm talking about. Like right now, if you go and look at source and target hatch, where are they? You can see that it starts from IV. Well, let's say it starts from maybe 256A laser source hatch. And this thing, I don't understand something. Like this thing No. Where are the ranges of them? Like, they're supposed to be like all the IV source hatches, then all the. Oh, probably this one. Yeah, look, IV laser source hatch has 256. Yeah, and then you can't go higher than that when you go for IV, right? But before that, you could go to the next increment, which is like 1024. You could go to a 4000 IV amps. You could go to a 16,000 or even like what 16 million, right? The last year of increment of those amperages, and it was such a skip, you know, because now you have to, if you want to jump into like higher energy transmission, you would have to, you know, like for example, you want to transmit 33 million energy in one direction. What do you do with 256 IV laser source hatches? What do you do? Do you build like what, 10 of them, 15 of them? Before that, you could just use not one emitter and electric pump. You could just go for 8 emitters and 8 electric pumps, 8 diamond lens, which is a craft of that thing, crafting recipe, and you would just get the same amount of energy for not giving a damn about ever reaching higher tiers of components, you know? So they kind of gated that thing by limiting it to a 256, to its own lower increments of amperages, you know, if you know what I'm talking about. So, considering that, the game got harder. And I remember when that was implemented, all my hatches, they were still there, you know, and I could still use them, but I couldn't craft them. You know, maybe they are much cheaper, but the thing is that you can't bypass higher demands of energy, you know, because you kind of need to get higher tiers of components. Like, there's no way for you to transmit 32 million of energy if you don't have LUV components at hand, which might be a problem for you. But I guess it isn't, because people play, you know, and I played. I when I saw that, I was like, okay, what am I gonna do with my 1 million ZPM hatches, which I was using freely, and I was super cool with that. They're still lying somewhere around in my base and probably being used somewhere, but I realized that that was one of the biggest limitations that they implemented. But maybe I am not as far-sighted as everybody else, and I don't see the bigger picture here, why it's better than it was before. But lasers are king, for sure. Yeah, I didn't start using it until EV, I guess. I kind of like tried to build some of those transformers and everything. I don't even remember what was the problem. What material was so expensive that I didn't even think to actually start using lasers until I got the MEBF and all that kind of crap. I guess it was something about, let me see, I don't remember. First of all, the high power casings and everything it required. Iridium. I remember iridium being niobium titanium was actually pretty. ZPM tier. Crystal processors are always a pain in the ass. Tungsten steel, osmiridium, but that's for molecular casing, which is. Oh, does anybody use a wormhole generator? I tried using one when I set up Dysons, but it's far beyond where you're now, and I don't want to spoil that again. I say I don't want to spoil things, and say if I'm spoiling things, I'll just shut up, you know, because I wouldn't want anybody to tell me that the things that are ahead of me. I mean, gummy bears. Should have probably picked up all the experience orbs so that they don't get backed up in here. Please don't die with almost 200 levels on your hands. I should say that to myself and die then. By carelessly falling to my death through that staircase as I do when I want to go to the lower levels. But now I don't even know if I need to do that. I don't know what to catch there now. So, let's quickly stop and say that I didn't do much today. Next episode, if I ever get down to it, because it's obviously very taxing on me. Oh, poor me, right? Who the hell cares? Since I started carbon plate production, which requires a lot of polyethylene, which I can get freely from coke oven running a different recipe for wood gas, if I remember correctly, I believe that it's possible for me to start crafting 8-volt solar panels. And these dudes, if I remember, if you set them up on a wire, setting up only 4 of them will give you a full amp of LV. It's not a lot, but it's honest work. So maybe I'll be able to... Well, actually, I don't need the 8-volt ones. It's too early for me to switch on to the panels right now. It's too early. I need to continue sticking to the benzene for now until I get to HV, because this is where I start my journey toward my first solar panels, because this is where the real fun begins. It's where I get the block version of that, which is LV, and you can say that wow, it's not really that expensive, but if you look at an LV solar panel, you actually see that you need to build a solar factory now for that, and that is on its own is an HV multi-block that actually is gated by EV circuits, so you will need to follow the whole chain of circuitry of LV level, well, I mean of HV level. Look at that, and that is pretty far away from the beginning of the tier, right? Because you first need to get the advanced circuit assembler, which you need, well, actually it's an MV version, kind of fine. Data sticks, processor assembly. Why does that look like UMV tier circuit? Am I tripping? There's like a Pico circuit? Pico, it's not, it's, I didn't say your name, there's like an actual Pico circuit in here. It's one of the last tiers of the game, if you've ever looked at it. It's like a pink one. And then there's one more, the yellow one. They almost look alike, look at that. How do I, well, first of all, I don't really need to distinguish them, because this one is an HV low tier bullshit, and this one is a UXV tier and all shiny and everything. So you would never mix those up, because by the time you get to the UXV tier, which is the last tiers of circuits, you won't ever be dealing with that line ever, because you'll be, even if you need HV circuits, you would be doing the nano processor. This one, it doesn't look. You got faithful resource packs, so you're probably seeing things differently. Well, I'm not against that. It's okay. I already told you that I would never mix them up. But maybe I thought that this was a preview of like the last circuit, so you can like kind of see how far you can get with this. But they used to look better than they are now. And I'm thinking maybe I'll be using those 8-volt solar panels for recyclers, to put them separately, you know, like away from the main system, to kind of like separate that. And as far as I remember, recycler only uses 1 amp of LV. Oh, one energy, 1 volt of LV amperage. See, I could be able. I would be able to place like 8 recyclers in a row, feeding off of one solar panel of 8 volts if I use redstone alloy cables. Right? We'll see. So I should probably start setting up those recyclers and just waiting for those 3 green sapphires because they're the main gate. I didn't yet go to the stage where I need to do that, or actually I did. Yeah, I did. I have 2 LV turbines for 63 recyclers. Yeah, and Pika, what do you think? Maybe it's. Do you think it's worth to actually get the MV1? Because it's going to use 4 times as much energy, considering the rules of overclocking, whatever. But it's going to be twice as fast. Yeah, probably not worth it. So, and how much time did you wait with 63 recyclers in one packager? It probably took you about a week to get the 9 green sapphires, right? 2-3 days of like what? Of just offline, like it was full 72 hours, right? Or 76, what is it? 3 days worth of hours. Or was it like, my man, I also play single player world. I already speculated and discussed how I'm going to do all that, so I'll probably be doing the same thing. But I also stream, so my streams are usually restricted to 4, 3, 5, 6 hours of gameplay, less frequently. Yeah, I understand. So that's what I'll be doing as well. You said what? 2 LV turbines, which means what? Around around how many solar boilers if I go this route? If I don't rely on benzene because I don't want to. So around 9, I think. Yes, I understand. I didn't even start them. I think I should just set this thing up with solar boilers and just forget about the whole thing. Maybe I would even need to set up 2 stacks of advanced solar boilers. Why so many? For 2 LV turbines. I don't think it's like a needed amount. For LV energy. That's how you go. That's how you roll. Okay. I went with benzene because I didn't like the fact how these boilers are created. It's like there's like this brick problem also. Yeah. We'll see. But I need to set up my... Well, it's bad, but it's better than nothing. And considerably, you can upgrade it later into... you can get a lot of things out of it later on, right? Or no? Yeah, there's this nitrobenzene if you go to a chemical plant route, and this thing burns for like 1,600,000 energy, but it needs a lot of things. But these things aren't. It's so bad. I probably agree with you because I used solars before that, probably just as you are. But I don't know what fuel you're using now. If you're like referring to NAC fuel, it's out of the question, of course, because I'm struggling with the earlier tiers. But what fuel beside benzene? What are you talking about? Which one? Like biofuel or something? Diesel? This diesel thing. If that's what you're talking about. I hate the requirement of sodium hydroxide dust and seed oil, which I have to set up peanuts for that. And that is mad fuel to IC2 reactor, uranium to MOX to the core. Never used. I used just like nuclear reactors, the 1 block ones that you can kind of connect in a cross style, you know, like in a crossway. And I remember using those because I needed sonarium, which you get after crushing the rods. I mostly used it for sonarium, and it gave me some 1 or 2 amps of EV at the time. And I don't remember ever going vac fuel or NAC fuel, whatever you call this thing, when you cool the vents and send them back to cool this thing. It needs a lot of redstone contraptions around it. Didn't ever use that. Vac nuke, yeah. So maybe that'll be a thing. But again, I'm planning on staying on solar just as soon as I'll be able to build it first. Yeah, maybe I'll use that. I'm kind of like I've gotten to know SFM a bit when I was working with antimatter production, blah blah blah. But I didn't do that myself. I just Googled a guide that made me. Yeah, I understand. I'll research some ways. But for now, I need to stick to start crafting the scrap bags or whatever you call those things, scrap things, to get those uranium. I mean, not uranium, but green sapphires, so that I don't have that as a hard lock or soft lock, so that I can just move on. And then while doing that, I'll probably move toward getting more energy while those are spinning on their own, which probably includes adding. Well, I can't get energy hatches until I get green sapphires, so it's out of the question to get more energy hatches to a coke oven or to a pearlescent oven, but actually I'm gated. I don't know what to do, really. There's so many things that are blocked, but I guess most of them are blocked by the fact that I don't have. Well, maybe I will be powering my base with 8-volt solar panels, because they are later upgraded to LV1s with the help of some vibrant crystals. I guess it's not gated, it shouldn't be. So many things, I don't know what to start with. Okay, so whoever watched me, Axie, Pico, Solaris, I still see you in a. Even though it was weak, it carried me throughout the entire game. Almost entire game. I always have to make that correction that I didn't finish the run. I was still like, I guess, 300 hours away from that, from passive waiting on and building my first Eye of Harmony, which I didn't do. I looked at a craft set, I will do that, and then my my hard drive got screwed after some time, and I was like, okay, here's your Eye of Harmony, enjoy. But I was like mentally getting ready to craft that. I just took a little bit of break, like a half a month of break, and then when I came back, I already came back to a save, transferred from that hard drive into a different PC. And that save included everything, which I have moved through a flash drive. That included everything but the freaking quest book. You know, I had the whole world, everything was there. I was like running around like, okay, this is my world, I remember that. I remember everything, I could do that, I could finish the run. I'm a hand stretch of a hand until finishing the run. I don't know how to say that. And I was like pressing the tilde button, whatever you call that, near the one above the tab, which I do for my quest book, and I saw that the entire thing was empty. There's still a way to retrieve that quest book. There's a possibility. I still have the hard drive and it kind of works now. But at that point I realized that a lot of things have changed ever since, because there were a lot of updates and everything. Now it's 2.8. A lot of new lines like netherite and prismarine, right? So might as well start a new run, because there's so many lines that I have to fix. I don't want to do that while being on top of the world and having all the resources in the world, just to backtrack so far away into earlier tiers, just to fix up a few things with my own hands. Because even though your world is entirely automated by the time you reach UMV, when you get this requirement to build a line by hand again, you go like, dude, I'm so far beyond these mortal values that I wouldn't ever want to get my hands dirty again with building a new line physically, right? Because you would just plump a few Eyes of Harmony, connect them to a universal storage that stores millions and billions of items, and you would just do that. You would parallel that, and then you just batchcraft a few things and get your gate, and you're done, right? And then you get updated and you get that netherite line with freaking noxious gas or whatever you get from nether, and you go like, dude, do I really have to go to nether to set up these pumps or whatever you have to collect this gas from? I don't even know if you're required to get that. Yeah, even though it's OP and there's a lot of things you can get from that, just the fact that I was so far away from all this crawling on the floor, on the ground. I was so high up in the sky in the celestial. I was a celestial being, literally, like, not even Thanos if you think about Marvel Universe. I was like the one above all, if you know, like the Marvel Universe or whatever. Like, I was almost that. And then I had to go back to being a Peter Parker flying around my base trying to figure out where to put another chemical reactor 3x3 in order to finish up this thing. Well, really, I would rather start a new run and just learn that path while I have while I don't have this celestial being feeling, you know. So that was my thought process when it came to abandoning my almost finished run. Now I'm here with our nuggets and gummy bears, talking about good old days, like it was yesterday. Oh, poor me. But for the sake of content, as Axie would say, suffering is good. Suffering is bliss, right? Or not bliss, blessing. Two different words again. To me, they sound the same. Okay, so thank you all for watching. I will try to upload this run as soon as possible, but it's mostly speaking, so I don't think people are actually going to watch that if they follow me for progression. I didn't do much today, but I was like kind of trying to figure out the grounds I stood on once before I stopped for a month. So next time we will come back. Probably is going to be Friday, I think. Today's after that. The day before, the day after tomorrow, maybe, because tomorrow I'll be super swarmed with stuff, IRL. And we'll see if that goes well. So, okay. See you all, guys. Thank you. Well, my webcam is so dark. I hope you're not bothered by that. I'm okay. I'm not blue or whatever. I don't have bruises under my eyes. It's just the lighting that goes like this. Maybe I'll fix it later, but for now, let it be this way. Okay, so goodbye, guys. See you next time.